네, 안녕하세요. 영어 쉐도잉 연습 65일차 시작을 하겠습니다. 네, 오늘도 어제 이어서 리처드 파인만 천재 물리학자의 시각에서 바라본 세상 스노우볼 님이 올려주신 영상인데 이걸 보고 영어 공부를 해보겠습니다.
Even when I was a small boy,
Even when I was a small boy 자막을 좀 가리고요.
Papa used to sit me on his lap and read to me from the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Papa used to sit me on his lap and read to me from the Encyclopedia Britannica.
And we would read, say, about dinosaurs.
And we would say about dinosaur,
They would say something like, this
and they would say something like,
thing is 25 feet high,
"This thing is 25 feet high,
and the head is 6 feet across.
and the head is 6 feet across."
And so we'd stop always and say, let's see what that means.
And so it stopped me to say, "Let's see what that means."
That would mean that if he stood in our front yard,
That would mean, that would mean, that it is that, that it is, that it is, that it is, that it is that, that it is that. That it is that, that it is that, that it is that, that it is that. Student in therapist, therapist, therapist. 도대체 스테드가 뭔가요? 잘 모르겠네요. 아무리 들어도. Therapist stood in a front yard.
he would be high enough to put his head through the window.
It would be high enough. He would be high enough to put his head through the window,
But not quite, because the head is a little bit too wide.
but not quite because the head is a little bit too wide.
It was very exciting and interesting to think that there were some animals.
I was very excited and interested in it. It was very exciting and interesting to think that there were animals
Of such magnitude.
of such a magnitude.
But they all died out.
And they all died
And
out.
at that time,
And
nobody
at that time, nobody knew why.
So
So,
that's the way I was
that's the
educated
way-
by my father.
So that's the way I was educated by my father.
Feynman's scientific style was always to look for the simplest, most elementary solution to a problem that was possible.
Feynman's scientific style was always to look for the simplest, most elementary solution to a problem that was possible.
If it wasn't possible, you had to use something fancier.
If it wasn't possible, you had to use it. You had to use something fancier. You had to use something fancier.
But no doubt part of this was his great joy and pleasure
But no doubt the part of this was his great joy and pleasure
in showing people that he could think more simply than they could.
in showing people that he could think more simply than they could. He could think more simply than they could. In showing people that he could think more simply than they could.
But he also deeply believed, truly believed, that if you couldn't explain something simply, you didn't understand it.
My
He also deeply believed, truly believed if that if you couldn't explain something simply, you didn't understand it. That if you couldn't explain something simply, you didn't understand it.
cousin at that time, who was 3 years older and was having considerable difficulty with algebra,
My cousin at the time was 3 years older, was having considerable difficulty with his algebra,
and had a tutor, Ken.
and had a tutor came.
And
And
I was allowed to sit
I was
in
a
the corner
sitting in
while
the
the tutor
corner while
would
the tutor would
try to
try to
teach
my
my cousin
cousin
algebra.
algebra. And I was sitting in the corner, and I was allowed to sit in the corner while the tutor would try to teach my cousin algebra.
And
And
so problems
so
like
problems
2x
like
plus
2x
3.
plus-
I said to
I said to
my cousin, and I said,
um, and and problems like 2x plus something, and I said to my cousin then,
what you're trying to do, you know.
"What you trying to do? What are you trying to do?"
I hear him talking about X. He said, what do you know, 2X
Uh, he says, I hear him talking about what X says. What do you know?
plus 7 is equal to 15.
2x plus 7 is equal to 2x plus 7 equals 15, like something.
He said, and you're trying to find out what X is. I said, you mean
You're, he says, you're, uh, you are trying to find out what x was. You mean 4?
4? He says, yeah, but you did it with arithmetic. You have to do it by algebra.
He says, yeah, but you did it by arithmetic, but you have to do it by algebra.
And that's why my cousin was never able to do algebra
That's why my cousin was never able to do algebra.
because he didn't understand how he was supposed to do it.
He didn't understand how he was supposed to do it.
There's no way. I learned algebra, fortunately, by not going to school.
I learned algebra, fortunately, by not going to school.
By knowing the whole idea was to find out what X was, and it didn't make any difference how you did it. There's
Uh, 뭐라고 했죠? 다시 한번.
how he was supposed to do it. There was no way. I learned algebra, fortunately, by not going to school. By knowing the whole idea was to find out what X was, and it didn't make any difference by not going to school. By knowing the whole idea was to find out what X was, and it didn't make any difference how you did it. There's no.
기억력이 안 좋네요. 네. 그래서 뭐라고 했는지 까먹네요. 처음에 다시 들으면 좋고.
By knowing the whole idea was to find out what X was, and it didn't make any difference how you did it. There's no such a thing as you don't do.
Okay. 그래서 knowing the whole idea was to find out what x was, and it didn't make any differences, and it didn't and it didn't make any difference how you did it. There is no such thing as
Do it by arithmetic. You do it by algebra.
you do it by arithmetic, you do it by algebra. Okay. Knowing the whole idea was to find out what x was.
Going to school. By knowing the whole idea was to find out what X was, and it didn't make any difference how you did it.
And it didn't make any difference. And it didn't make any difference. And it didn't make any difference how you did it.
There's no such a thing as you don't do it by arithmetic. You do it by algebra.
You do it by arithmetic, you do it by algebra. 다시 할까요?
Going to school.
Going to school.
By knowing the whole idea was to find out what X was, and it didn't make any difference how you did it. There's no such a thing as
There's no such thing.
you don't do it by arithmetic. You do it by
You
algebra.
do it by arithmetic,
It's a
you do it
false thing that
That's
they had
false thing.
invented in school.
There's a false statement. That's false statement they invented in school,
So that the children who have to study algebra can all pass it.
so that the children who have to study algebra, so that the children who have to study the algebra cannot pass it.
They had invented a set of rules which, if you followed them without thinking,
They invented they invented a set of rules. They invented a set of rules, which if you follow them without thinking,
could produce the answer. Subtract 7 from both sides.
they invented a set of rules, which if you follow them without thinking, could produce the answer. Subtract 7 from both sides.
If you
They
have a
have
multiplier,
multiplier.
divide both sides by the multiplier. And so
If you have multiplier, divide both sides by multiplier.
on, a series of steps by which you could get the answer if you didn't understand what you were trying to do.
A series of steps which you could get the answer. The series of steps.
Multiply and so on. A series of steps by which you could get the answer if you didn't
A series of steps by which you could get the answer. If you didn't understand what you are trying to do.
multiply and divide both and so on. A series of
There's
steps
just
by which you could get the answer if you didn't understand what you were trying to
what
do.
you're trying to do. As a series of steps by which you could get the answer. Yeah, if you didn't understand it, what you are trying to do.
I have a
I
friend
have a friend
who's an
who's
artist,
an
and
artist.
he's sometimes
He
taken a
sometimes,
view which I
he sometimes taken a view which I
don't
don't
agree with
agree
very
with
well.
very well.
He'll hold up a
You
flower
hold up
and
the flower
say,
and say,
"Look how
"Look
beautiful
how
it is."
beautiful it
I'll
is."
agree,
I agree, I think.
And he says, "You see,
And
as I, as an artist, can see
and and it says and it says and it says, "You see, I as an artist."
how beautiful this is." Don't agree with very well. He'll hold up a
The
flower
flower.
and say, "Look how beautiful it is," and I'll agree,
Okay.
and he says, "You see, as I, as an artist, can see how
Can see the how beautiful can see how beautiful this is.
beautiful this is."
And he says, you see, I as an artist, you see, I as an artist can see the can see the beauty, can see how beautiful this is.
And I'll agree,
Okay.
and he
Can
says, "You
see,
see,
I
as
say,
I, as
I
an
say,
artist, can see how beautiful this is."
how beautiful, can see how beautiful this is. Can see how beautiful this is. And you see, and he says, you see, I as an artist can see the beautiful this is. Can see how beautiful this is. Can see how beautiful this is. And you see how and he says, "You see, and he says, "You see, I as an artist can see how beautiful this is."
And I'll agree, and he says, "You see, as I, as an artist, can see how beautiful this is. But you, as a scientist, take this all apart, and it becomes a dull thing."
And you as an artist, take this all apart and all apart, and it becomes that things becomes a third thing.
And I think that
And I
he's
think
kind of
that's
nutty.
nutty. I think that he's kind of nutty.
First of
First of
all,
all,
the beauty that
the
he
beauty
sees
he
is available to other people and to me too. I
the beauty that he sees the beauty that he sees is available to other people and to me too.
believe,
I
although I
believe
may not be
otherwise.
quite as refined as aesthetically as he is,
Although I may not be, although I may not be as refined, although I may not be quite as refined as aesthetically he is,
but I can
but I
appreciate
can
the beauty
appreciate
of
the
the
beauty of
flower.
the flower. But I can appreciate but I can appreciate beauty, appreciate beauty of a flower.
At the same
At the
time,
same
I see
time,
much more
I
about
see,
the
much-
flower than he
I see much more about the flower
sees.
than he sees.
I could
I
imagine the
could imagine
cells
the
and the
cells in there
complicated
are
actions inside,
complicated,
which also have a beauty.
complicated actions inside, which have also beauty, which also have a beauty, which also have a beauty, complicated actions inside, which have also beauty, which also have a beauty, which have also beauty, which also have a beauty, which also have a beauty, complicated actions inside, which also have a beauty.
I mean, it's not just
I mean,
beauty
it's
at
not
this
just
dimension of
beauty.
1 centimeter. There's also
I mean, it's not just beauty at this centimeter, beauty at this beauty at beauty at beauty at. Uh, I mean, it's not just beauty at the beauty at dimension of 1 centimeter.
a beauty. I mean, it's not just beauty at this dimension of 1 centimeter. There's
But
also
at this dimension of 1 centimeter, I mean, it's not just the beauty at this dimension, at this dimension of 1 centimeter. I mean, it's not just. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not just the beauty at this dimension of 1 centimeter.
beauty at a smaller dimensions.
Beauty
Beauty at
at
this
this dimension
dimension of
of
one
1 centimeter
centimeter. There's also beauty at a smaller dimensions.
is also there's also beauty at small dimensions.
Just beauty at
At
this
this
dimension
dimension
of
of
1 centimeter. There's also beauty at a smaller dimensions.
and there's also at a beauty. There's also beauty at small dimensions. There's also beauty at small dimensions. Yeah.
The inner structure,
The inner structure,
also the
also the
processes,
processes,
the fact that
the fact that
the colors
the
and the
colors
flower
and
evolve in order to attract insects to pollinate it is interesting. It means
the fact that the colors in a flower, the colors in a flower evolved in order to attract insects to pollinate it is is interesting.
Means that insects can see the color.
It means that insects can see the color. It means that insects can see the color. It means that insects can see the color.
It adds a
And it
question.
asks a
Does this
question.
aesthetic sense also exist in the lower forms that are
It asks questions. Uh, does this aesthetic sense also exist in the lower forms? Does this aesthetic sense also exist in the lower forms?
does it why isn't it
What is
aesthetic? All kinds of
why is it aesthetic? 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 Why is it aesthetic?
interesting questions.
Uh,
Which does it why is it aesthetic?
why
All
is it?
kinds of
What kind of
interesting questions
questions
which the science
which just science
knowledge
knowledge
only
on
adds
edge.
to the excitement
So
which the science aesthetic. All kinds of interesting questions
all kinds of interesting questions, all kinds of interesting questions,
which the
which shows science
knowledge
knowledge
only
on
adds
edge
to the
to the
excitement and mystery and
excitement,
the awe of a flower.
excitement and mystery and awe of a flower.
It only adds.
It
I
only
don't
adds.
understand
I
how
don't
it
understand.
subtracts mystery and the awe of a
I don't. I don't understand how it's abstract.
flower. It only adds.
It
I don't
adds.
understand how it subtracts.
How it's subtract. Subtract.
Their
Subtract.
father,
The father,
Melville
Melville
Feynman,
Feynman,
worked for a company which made uniforms.
worked for the company which made uniform.
This exposure
This
to
is
the
for the
military led to a strong rejection of authority, a value he instilled in his son.
This this
Led to a strong rejection for a company which made uniforms.
which made uniforms. Their father, Mervyn Feynman, worked for a company which made uniforms.
This exposure to the military led to a
This exposure to the military. This exposure to a military. This exposure to a military led to a this exposure to a military
strong rejection of authority,
led to a strong led to a led to a strong rejection of military.
a value. This exposure to the military led to a strong rejection of authority,
Led to a strong rejection of authority. Led to a strong rejection of authority.
a value he
value.
instilled in his son.
A value he instilled in his son. The value he instilled into the son. The value instilled to his son. Instilled to his son. Instilled to his son.
One of the
One
things
of
that
the
my
things that
father taught me was a
One of the things my one of the one of the one of the things my father taught me
disrespect.
was disrespect. One of the my father taught me was disrespect.
You open a picture in New York Times,
He
maybe it was
opened up the picture of New York Times.
a general, and he'd say, "Now look at these." You open a picture in New York Times, maybe it was a general.
Maybe it was general. Maybe it was general.
Say, now look at these humans, he'd say. He'd picture New York Times, maybe it was a general. And he'd say, now look at these humans, he'd say.
And he says, you now look at. And he says, now look at these humans.
He'd open a picture in New York Times, maybe it was a general. And he'd say, now look at these humans.
And he said, 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 and he say, and he say, and he say, and he did say, and he say, and he say, and he say, now look at these humans.
He'd say, here's one human standing here, and all
Here's
these
the one human standing here.
others are bowing. Now, what is the difference? Why? He'd say, here's one human standing here, and all these others are bowing. Now, what is the difference?
And all the others are bowing.
Humans, he'd say. Here's one human standing here, and all these others are bowing. Now, what is
All these others bowing. All these others are 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 bowing.
look at these humans, he'd say. Here's one human standing here, and all these others are bowing. Now, what is the difference? Why?
And what is the difference? And what is the difference?
He'd say. Here's one human standing here, and all these others are bowing. Now, what is the difference? Why?
What What is the difference? Why?
Why are they all bowing to him?
Why are they all bowing to him? Why are they all bowing to him? Why are why are they all bowing to him? Why are they all bowing to him? Bowing to him?
Only because of his name and his position.
Only because of his name and position. Only because his name and only because only because
I mean, now what is the difference? Why are they all bowing to him?
why are they all bowing to him?
Only because of his name and his position.
Only because of his name and his position. Only because of his name and his position. Only because of his name and his position.
Because of his uniform.
Because of his uniform. Because of his uniform.
Because of something he especially did.
Not because of something he especially did. Not because of his. Not because of. Not because of something he. Not because of something he. Not because of something he. Not because of something he especially did.
What Feynman hated worse than anything else was intellectual
What Feynman hated worse than anything else was
pretense.
intellectual pretense.
What Feynman hated worse than anything else was intellectual pretense.
What Feynman hated worse than anything else was intellectual pretense. What Feynman hated worse than anything else was intellectual pretense. Phoniness.
False sophistication.
False sophistication.
Jargon.
Jargon. What Feynman hated worse than anything else was intellectual pretense, phoniness, false sophistication, jargon.
Was it worth a Nobel Prize?
Was it worth it? Was it worth Nobel Prize?
Was it worth a Nobel Prize?
Was it worth a Nobel Prize?
Answer.
Answer.
I don't know anything about the Nobel Prize.
I don't know anything about Nobel Prize. I don't know anything about Nobel Prize. I don't know I don't know anything about Nobel Prize.
I don't understand what it's all about or what.
I don't understand. I don't understand what is all about it. What is all about it? What is all about? What about? What is all about?
I don't know anything about the Nobel Prize. I don't understand
I don't understand
what it's all about or
what it's all about or
what's worth what.
what it's all about or what's worth what.
And if the people in the Swedish Academy decide that X, Y, or Z,
But if the people in the Swedish
or what's worth what, and if the people in the Swedish Academy decide that X all about or what's worth what, and if the people in the Swedish
but if the people in the Swedish
Academy decide that X, Y,
Academy decided X, Y, or
or Z wins the Nobel
Z
Prize, then
wins the Nobel Prize,
so be it.
that's all.
No, I think that was entirely right.
I don't know anything about the Nobel Prize.
I don't know anything about Nobel Prize.
Don't understand what it's all about or
I don't understand what it's all about or
what's worth what.
what's what. I don't understand what it's all about or what's what.
And if the people in the Swedish
And
Academy
if the people in the Swedish Academy
decide that X, Y, or Z
Decided.
wins the Nobel Prize,
decided X, Y, or Z wins the Nobel Prize,
then so be it.
that's all.
No, I think that was entirely
I
right
think
and proper.
the
Was one of
one
the
best
Nobel Prizes
Nobel
there ever was,
Prizes.
I would say. Best earned Nobel Prizes there ever was, I would say. No, I think that was entirely right and proper. It was one of the.
And so be it.
No, I think that was entirely right and proper. It was
I
one
think the right and proper.
of the.
Be it.
No, I think that was entirely right and proper. It was one of
I
the.
think that is right and proper.
Then so be it.
No, I think that was entirely right and proper.
I think that it is entirely right and proper.
It was one of the.
Then so be it.
No, I think that was entirely right and proper.
I think they took it took entirely light and proper.
It was one of the best earned
It was one of the best earned
Nobel Prizes there ever was, I would say.
Nobel prizes, Nobel Prize that uh, Nobel Prize that ever won.
One of the best earned Nobel Prizes there ever was, I would
Nobel
say.
Prizes that never were, I say. Yeah, Nobel Prize.
It was entirely right and proper.
If he wins a Nobel Prize, then so be it.
No, I think that it was entirely right and proper.
I think it was entirely right and proper. I think that was. I think that was entirely right and proper.
If he wins a Nobel Prize, then so be it.
No, I think that it was entirely right and proper.
No, I think that I think that was entirely right and proper.
It's all about.
I think that it was entirely right and proper. It was one of the best earned.
It was one of the. I think one of the best earned
Nobel Prizes there ever was.
Nobel Prizes there ever was.
Was one of the best earned Nobel Prizes there ever was, I would say.
Nobel Prizes there ever was.
I
would say.
I don't see that it makes any point.
Prizes there ever was, I would say.
I don't see that it makes any point that someone in the Swedish Academy decides that this work is noble enough to receive a prize. I've already got the prize. The prize is the pleasure of finding a thing out, the kick in a discovery, the observation other people use it. Those are the real things. The honors are unreal to me. I don't believe in honors. It bothers me. Honors bothers me. Honors as epaulets. Honors as uniforms. My papa brought me up this way. I can't stand it. It hurts me.
Best earned Nobel Prizes there ever was, I would say.
I don't see that it makes any point.
I don't see they makes a. I don't see they make any points.
That's as there ever was, I would say.
I don't see that it makes any point.
I don't see
someone
they makes a
In the
point.
Swedish, I don't see that it makes any point
I
that
see
someone
that
in the Swedish Academy decides that this work is no point. That someone
Ever was, I would say.
I don't see that it makes any point that someone
I don't see that
in
it
the Swedish
makes a
Academy
point.
decides that this work makes any point. That someone
I would say.
I don't see that it makes any point.
I
that someone
see that it makes a
in the
point. I don't see that it. I don't see that it makes a point. I don't see that it makes a point. Makes a point. Makes a makes any point.
I don't see that it makes any point
Makes any
that
point.
someone
I don't see that it makes a point. Makes any point.
in the Swedish I don't see that it makes any point.
Makes
That's-
any point. Makes any point. I don't see that it makes any point. I don't see that it makes any point.
Someone I don't see that it makes any point that someone in the Swedish Academy decides that this
Yes.
work is noble enough. That someone in the Swedish I don't see that it makes any point that someone in the Swedish Academy decides that this work is no point. That someone in the Swedish Academy decides that this work is noble enough to receive a prize. I've already got the prize. The prize is the pleasure of finding it noble enough to receive a prize. I've already got the prize. The prize is the pleasure of finding a thing out to receive a prize. I've already got the prize. The prize is the pleasure of finding a thing out, the kick in a discovery,
Prizes
the
to
observation
find
of the pleasure of finding a thing out, the
Pleasures
kick in a
find
discovery,
out.
the observation other
Pleasures
people
to find
use it.
out. Find it.
Those are the
thing
real
out.
discovery. The prize is the pleasure of finding a thing out.
Finding
The
out
kick
thing
in a
out.
discovery. Prize. The prize is the pleasure of finding the thing out. The prize. I've already got the prize. The prize is the pleasure of finding the thing out.
Pleasure
The
is
kick in the discovery.
find it
The
out,
observation is the pleasure of finding the thing out.
Find
The kick in the
find this
discovery.
thing out.
The observation of the pleasure of finding the thing out. The kick in the discovery. Already got the prize. The prize is the pleasure of finding the thing out.
The prizes.
Receive a prize. I've already got the prize. The Swedish Academy decides that this work is noble enough.
This
Someone in the Swedish Academy decides that this work is
in the Swedish Academy, this work
noble enough to receive a
is
prize.
noble enough to receive a prize.
I've already got the prize.
I've already got the prize.
The prize is the pleasure of finding
The prize is the pleasure of finding
the thing out. Achieve a prize. I've already got the prize. The prize is the